At the church I was at in Alabama, we followed the lectionary. So we had a psalm every Sunday, and they asked me to start writing music to go with the psalms. So all of a sudden I'm up on Sunday and I'm having to sing these like really heavy, like Psalms of lament, Psalms of disorientation to use, Brueggemann's word, like just, a lot more honest in church than I like personally was comfortable being, So, but that was really life-giving for me, and it was really life-giving for my congregation. And so I kind of realized like we need more songs and more language to help us like tell the truth about our real lives, our Monday to Saturday lives, where we feel anger and confusion and futility and, all these things that the Psalms talk about, but they're not necessarily reflected in a lot of cases in our hymnody and also in our modern praise and worship music.
From the dawn of civilization, music has been the language of the people, shaping memory, stirring courage, and giving voice to both our deepest sorrows and our highest hopes. In the marketplace, in the public square, and in the sanctuary, song has carried truth into hearts long before words on a page could. Today, we welcome a songwriter whose work does just that. Wendell Kimbrough has given the church and the world melodies that breathe the gospel into ordinary life. In one of his songs, The Breastplate of St. Patrick, his lyrics remind us that Christ surrounds us before and behind, within and without, strengthening us as we step into the challenges of the public square. And in another song, Your Labor is Not in Vain, Wendell assures us that even when our work feels unseen or unfruitful, nothing done in faith is wasted in God's kingdom. So in this episode, we'll explore how music not only echoes in our churches, but also reverberates into culture, shaping the way we live, work, and serve. Wendell Kimbrough, welcome to the conversation.
Hey, Case. Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you. So, friends, that was actually Wendell playing us a little background music, and I appreciate that. Now, you and I were together just a few months back at the City Gate Conference.
That's right. Denver.
Yeah.
Or I guess we were in Boulder, right? Yeah.
Yeah, in Boulder, just north of Denver. And this was a really neat gathering of other faith and work leaders around the country. And Wendell, I'm so glad they had you there, but honestly, I was a little frustrated with the schedule because I'm like, let Wendell play more.
Well, I appreciate it. It was, Taylor Linhart was there as well. So I felt pretty privileged to get to be there and be part of that with her. It was really cool.
Well, not only the worship leadership you did, but even your solo pieces. So maybe I'll tell the organizers, look, next time invite him back and just give him a whole session or more.
We totally could have done a concert the first night. Between Taylor and I, that would have been fun.
Well, to our viewers and friends, welcome to Nuance, where we seek to be faithful in the public square. I'm Case Thorp, and please like, subscribe, share this video podcast, however you're receiving it, so that we can expand our audience. So Wendell Kimbrough is a singer-songwriter whose psalm-inspired music is sung by congregations around the world. His songs give voice to the full breadth of human experience, from exuberant praise to raw lament, offering worshipers a safe and honest space before God. Wendell's collaborated widely with artists such as The Porter's Gate, Graham Kendrick, Taylor Linhart, Paul Zach, Sandra McCracken, and Caroline Cobb. For 17 years, he served as a worship leader in churches from Washington, D.C. to Alabama and Dallas. Now based in Holland, Michigan, Wendell's pursuing a new chapter of his calling through the Clinical Mental Health Counseling Program at Western Theological Seminary. He and his wife, Hannah, are raising their 2 daughters while continuing to root their lives in creativity, faith, and service. So, dude, what's it like to have been all over and now landed in Holland.
Well, Holland's a great place. So we've just passed a year since we moved here, and we've really enjoyed being here. I do feel a little like, wait, where am I? And I think it's the first time actually this summer, because I'm a student now, like I had a summer break. So I had like a good 6-week period in there where I was not doing, I didn't have it was like I had no, I didn't have a job that I had to wake up for, or a class I had to wake up for. And yeah, and it was just like first time in a while that I've kind of just stepped back and thought about like my story, it's like, okay, God, you've taken us to some interesting places. I grew up in a town of less than 1,000 people, in rural Mississippi. And then, I've been on staff at a big church in downtown Dallas and planted a church in DC. And now I'm back in kind of a small town. I don't know, just thinking about this, it's been quite a journey. It's a little hard to answer the, where am I from question, or where am I going? We're not quite sure.
Well, your accent, like mine, betrays a little bit of where you're from.
Definitely the South. Yeah. No question about that.
Why pastoral counseling?
Yeah. So, kind of long story short, I've been in church my whole life. I grew up, my dad's a pastor. And I would say in some ways I've kind of been like a professional Christian my whole life, I've been someone who is aware of the fact that I'm being watched. And am, has been on stages and platforms in ministry, so to speak. And, there was a point, I was about 30 years old where I'd say my inside life and my outside life were just not in sync. And the wheels started to come off, and I had a lot of feelings, a lot of anger and sadness that I didn't know what to do with. And I kind of found my way to, in God's grace, to they call them men's coaching weekends, but this Christian therapist led these retreats where a bunch of guys would go sit in a circle in the woods,
beat on camp chairs.
Yeah, no drums, but just and tell their stories. Talk about their lives, talk about their families growing up, talk about their pain, talk about loss. There were guys there, going through divorces, or who had a major loss or grief in their life that they were processing. And I started to learn to bring my inside out, bring what was in here and narrate it to other people who were able to love me, care for me, help me make sense of things that I didn't understand. And it was a really healing, it just started a really healing journey for me. And that's kind of it made me hey, you know what? I think I might want to do more of this. Yeah. So that was 10 years ago, and this is where we've landed.
I want to be more, I hear you saying, I want to help do this for others.
Yeah, absolutely. Where I've found life, and where, I would say I really kind of re-met Jesus in a new way, in that space. I want to help others do that as well. Yeah. Now,
your music. Wow. I've really appreciated how you have spoken to my heart for several years now, and we hadn't met until just June. So know that your fruitfulness is happening.
My labor's not in vain.
Your labor. That's one of the songs we're going to talk about. So yeah,
I appreciate that.
Even Wendell Kimbrough's labor is not in vain.
Appreciate that, Case.
Tell me about your musical vision, or your aim, or what your inspiration.
Yeah. I'm glad you asked the other question first, because they kind of connect. I'm really trying to create space for people to be honest. And feel their feelings in the presence of God and in the presence of others. So a lot of my work over the last decade has been taking the Psalms and making them, kind of rephrasing them into my own words and making them singable. And that's, that goes along with the kind of the journey that I was just sharing about. Like I used to come to church kind of with it's like, how are you? I'm great. How are you? Just that kind of like
surface.
Yeah. Kind of Christian mask a little bit. And at the church I was at in Alabama, we followed the lectionary. So we had a psalm every Sunday and they asked me to start writing music to go with the psalms. So all of a sudden I'm up on Sunday and I'm having to sing these like really heavy, like Psalms of lament, Psalms of disorientation to use, Brueggemann's word, like just, a lot more honest in church than I like personally was comfortable being, So, but that was really life-giving for me, and it was really life-giving for my congregation. And so I kind of realized like we need more songs and more language to help us like tell the truth about our real lives, our Monday to Saturday lives where we feel anger and confusion and futility and, all these things that the Psalms talk about, but they're not necessarily reflected in a lot of cases in our hymnody and also in our modern praise and worship music. So
I was privileged to share or spend a month in Scotland on my sabbatical a few years back, working with a Free Church of Scotland plant that we had helped to make happen, our church, First Pres Orlando. And I learned how they have a requirement that there is a psalm in every liturgy. And as worship styles have evolved and they do incorporate more of a contemporary Christian music sound, they still have this requirement. And I heard a whole lot of original tunes and approaches to the Psalms that I hadn't heard before. Were you writing a new tune every week, or you in the liturgy were given the tunes?
I was writing a new tune every week. It was awesome, but it was a challenge.
Yeah.
That's a whole long story, but I was kind of a recovering perfectionist. Actually, at that time, I was just a perfectionist. And that challenge of, hey, can you write a new little ditty every week for the congregation? That it didn't quite cure me, but it definitely got me on a journey away from my perfectionism because I had to do something. Now I wasn't doing, wasn't writing like a full, if you listen to my albums, like a full song. I wasn't doing that every week. We would just sing a short refrain.
Like a call and response.
Yep. So if you just scrolled through my list of music on Spotify or something and picked a psalm, probably just the chorus of that song would have been what we would have sung on a Sunday. And the way we do it, we do it with a reader. And so we sing the refrain, and then a reader reads a little bit of the psalm while I play the guitar behind them. And then we sing again, and then they read again. And so it just kind of sets the reading of the psalm in a musical space and gives the congregation a refrain to kind of enter into the psalm with.
Love that.
It's a great format. I love it. I'm always trying to recommend it to churches who are saying, how do we do more psalmody?
It is on
Sunday
the
worship.
It is on the increase for sure. Well, one of your great songs that has blessed me, St. Patrick's Breastplate. Now, you draw on some pretty old words here. Historic words and prayers that he supposedly or is given the credit for having written down. What about this song stood out to you, and why put this to music?
Yeah, it's interesting. So this was part of a Porter's Gate writing project, basically. So the question we were kind of trying to answer was how do we write songs that help people connect their work life, where we spend most of our week, to their relationship with God, and not keep the two segmented. And then specifically, we were, one of the questions asked of me was, what about people who don't work in like white collar, corporate jobs? People for whom some days like work is like just hard labor, it might just suck. Yeah. Truth is, we all know like work is broken. And so like, whether you're white collar, blue collar, wherever you are in the socioeconomic world, like we all feel the curse in our work. But, and I actually can't remember, it might've been my friend Dan Wheeler, who's a producer in Nashville, and we've written some songs together, including this one. It might've been his idea to take, this prayer of St. Patrick, which I had heard before, but it wasn't like part of my prayer life. It's not like a prayer that I prayed often, but it's like this framing kind of Christ before me, Christ behind me, Christ beside me, Christ within me, kind of prayer. And what if we took that prayer and we juxtaposed it with scenes, kind of images from work life? And then we started thinking about different vocations. We thought about, being parents, which is a vocation. We thought about different kinds of jobs. We thought about entrepreneurs. Actually, I think that was the first image. There's a line at the end of the song. It ended up at the end of the song, but it's about the risk of like striking out to do something on your own, that you've dreamed of for a long time, and how scary that feels.
When I climb the first steps toward a long-held dream, Christ above me, and I leap out in faith, and I hope to find wings, Christ beneath me.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's still probably my favorite line in the song. We realized that we ended up putting it at the end of the song because it kind of leaves you in this space of like, you're going somewhere, and it allows your imagination to, when you finish listening to the song, like you're kind of imagining, is there a dream that's still ahead of me to chase? Like,
but then there's friends listening and watching. He's going to play this for us in a minute, but there's lines like, when I work hard, but someone else gets the reward. When I ask for a promotion and they shut the door. But the response, God's eyes see me, God's ears hear me. You've even got a line here that I can't say fully because my mother will be listening. When I'm busting my ASS, but it's never enough.
I meant to talk to you before we hit record, just to ask if you needed me to sing the sanitized version of it, or if I could sing the real thing.
My audience can certainly take it, but I don't know if my Victorian morality can say it. So that's okay.
I got you. That's okay. No judge. I got no judgment. If you don't judge me.
When you sang it in Boulder in June, I'm like, oh, did he just say that at a Christian conference? Well, I guess he did. Okay, well, if you would, share it with us and let others enjoy.
Yeah, let me sing it for you. When my work takes me places I don't want to go, Christ before me, and my heart aches with sorrow as I hit the road. Christ be with me. When the care of my family takes all that I have, Christ within me. When I'm worn and exhausted, ashamed that I'm mad, Christ defend me. But I rise up today in a strength that is not my own. And I'm held by the promise of God that I'm never alone. When I'm tossed to the side and I wanna give up, Christ beside me. When I'm busting my ass but it's never enough, Christ beside me. When I work hard but someone else gets the reward, God's eyes see me. And I ask for promotion but they shut the door, God's ears hear me. I rise up today in a strength that is not my own. I'm held by the promise of God that I'm never alone. I rise up today in a strength that is not my own. I'm held by the promise of God that I'm never alone. When I climb the first steps toward a long-held dream, Christ above me, and I leap out in faith and I hope to find wings, Christ beneath me.
That line towards the beginning, when I'm worn and exhausted, ashamed that I'm mad, Christ defend me. I even thought my response might be, Christ protect me. Because I'm not so lovely when I'm worn and exhausted and angry and yeah.
Yeah, I think, and probably for me, that line, I'm thinking about, it comes right after the line about when the care of my family takes all that I have, you know, and I think nothing brings out anger that I'm ashamed of more than parenting, you know?
Preach.
Right. You get to these points where you're like, man, I've been so patient. And then you're just like,
I'm done.
Oh, we have to leave now. You know, it's like, we have to leave right now. And then, in fact, that happened this morning, you know, and I had to apologize to my 7-year-old for yelling at her.
Maybe it should be, Christ defend those around me.
Yeah, right. Well, and I think the line, I think where that is for me, and it may not come across very well, but it's like, defend me from my own self-attack, you know? It's like, I feel like one of the worst things for your kids and for you is when, as a parent, if you start the shame, when you start to like, I'm terrible or whatever, like that energy then comes out, you know? So it's like actually asking Jesus to step between me, between my inner critic and my heart, you know, and give myself a little grace. Like, yeah, you raised your voice at your kid and you shouldn't have, and just go apologize. And you're a human because it's hard.
Well, like the Psalms of Lament, this is sort of a modern day song for lament, because I can just imagine someone coming home from work and letting this song wash over them. The line, when I work hard, but someone else seems to get the reward. When I ask for a promotion and they shut the door. That can help the heart process.
Yeah.
And then immediately remind us of the good news of the gospel, these responsive lines, Inspired by St. Patrick, God's eyes see me, God's ears hear me. They know. He knows who did the work. He knows who deserves the promotion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You ever gotten feedback from a listener, either at a concert or after the fact, on what this song meant to them or helped them see?
It is one of the songs that I hear from people on. I'm trying to think of a specific time, but yeah, just from a number of people will come up after a show and say, that one really got me, or that one really spoke to me.
Well, the ancient side of it too. I love the recycling of St. Patrick.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's a beautiful prayer. Honestly, I had not really found it I had not really connected with the prayer when I'd heard it before. Mm-hmm. Just that section, the like Christ behind me, Christ before me. But then if you Google it or whatever and pull it up, it's actually a really long prayer and there's a lot more to it. And that's kind of just like the section that gets quoted out of context, But this thing about God seeing me and God hearing me, and the chorus, the part about rising up in a strength that's not my own. I don't think that's a direct quote, but there are lines in the prayer that are about that, like like the power that I need to face this hard day ahead of me, or to recover from this hard day that I just finished. It's not a power that I possess, but I'm not alone in this.
Right.
Jesus is with me. Yeah. Yeah, it's a great prayer.
Now, another song, Your Labor Is Not in Vain. I'm correct, right? That was a Porter's House project?
Yeah, Porter's Gate. Yeah.
Porter's Gate project.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that. Tell everybody what the Porter's Gate project was all about.
Yeah. So you mean Porter's Gate in general or that specific project?
What is the Porter's Gate?
Yeah.
And then about this song.
Yeah. So Porter's Gate there's a guy named Isaac Wardell. He's a worship leader at he's now at an ACNA church in the DC area. He and I have been friends for a long time and worked on music together, but he'll kind of spearhead these projects where he'll gather a bunch of different Christian artists, and some scholars, and then some like people to give kind of what you like testimonials essentially around a particular topic. And it's like a little mini conference. So you got all these artists, musicians sitting in the room, chewing on content together, talking about it, kind of processing. And then we get broken up into groups and sent off to like try to write some songs that get at some of the, what did you feel in connection to this topic? Like, where did this speak to you? And the goal is just to try to write songs for the church that are, that give us some language to sing about things that we maybe don't, that's like underrepresented, topics that are underrepresented in our hymnody. So their first project was actually a faith and work project. So this idea of, bringing your work life into church with you, not checking it at the door. And this song was one that I wrote, ended up being a group write with a couple other folks, but I sat down with, I guess it's it's 1 Corinthians 15, I think is where the quote comes from. Knowing that in Christ, Paul says, knowing that in Christ your labor is not in vain. But he's nodding to Isaiah 65, I think it is.
Okay.
And so a lot of the imagery in the song actually came straight out of Isaiah 65. So I don't have Isaiah 65 pulled up in front of me, but for anybody listening, if you wanted to chew on this a little more, you could just pull that up and read it. Beautiful. Isaiah is one of my favorite books in the Bible. just the poetry and the imagery is so imaginative and so evocative, you know. The other thing I'd say about this is years ago, I heard a sermon. I mean, it was about a friend of mine, a pastor, Matthew Mason, who's now in the UK, it was on this idea of work, and it was based on Leaf by Niggle. Are you familiar with that?
Oh, very much.
The Tolkien short story.
Yes, and Tim Keller has it in the front of his very famous book, Every Good Endeavor.
Okay, that makes sense.
We learn, we read that in both the Gotham Fellowship and our Orlando Fellows program. I teach them a RTS course. And so we spend a lot of time on Leaf by Niggle. Yeah,
you've hung out with Leaf by Niggle quite a bit. I mean, it's such a, well, I'll just say this, when I that was the first time I think I'd heard the story. The pastor kind of like read sections of it and kind of summarized the story in the sermon. And man, I wept so hard. It just connected with something deep in me, this idea that that the work that we're doing, somehow God like brings it to fruition and fullness in the new heavens and the new earth. I think as a musician, especially at that time, I mean, I was probably like 28, 29. I was really struggling as a songwriter. Just trying so hard to create, you know. I had a hard drive full of like ideas, you know, and all these just disparate scraps of paper and you know, it's just this kind of space where I'm like trying, and I have all these ideas that I couldn't quite finish and couldn't, you know, just very frustrated and struggling as a creative. And I think, you know, if you read a Tolkien biography, I'm probably telling you things you already know, but like he spent a lot of his life feeling that way. I mean, he labored on the Lord of the Rings,
right? For decades
with no clue that it would ever be successful, that it would ever get published. Like, and he really struggled with a lot of like self doubt, self-condemnation about that. Like he was chronically late for things, turning, you know, he struggled as an academic. Like he was not like hugely successful. He didn't publish as much as he should have, you know, technically, like, and a lot of that's because he had this passion for writing the Lord of the Rings. Yeah. But anyway, so Leaf by Niggle is like straight out of his life. Like he is Niggle, pretty much.
Give us a quick summary for those that may not be familiar.
Yeah, well, it's a little hard to summarize, and you can help me, but like, it's this guy, and he's, what is he, a painter, I think? And he loves to paint leaves. And he just has this fascination with the beauty of leaves, and he's always trying to paint the perfect leaf. And but he's just constantly getting pulled aside. He's got this needy neighbor who like keeps interrupting his life, and he keeps having to like help his neighbor, and he's kind of frustrated about that. And
well, I think he set out to paint a whole tree.
Okay, maybe that's it. Yeah.
But because of all these distractions, he only has one leaf at the end of his life painted.
Yeah, that's right. It's something like that. And he and it's, I mean, it's kind of allegorical. Like he dies at the end, and then he kind of goes to purgatory. At least it's not like named that in the story, but he goes to this place where he has to like work out a lot of stuff. But then at the very end of the story, he like makes this journey into this like beautiful country that Tolkien's description is just so beautiful. Like he's just so moved by the glory of this place, and he's like in this countryside, and the light is like, you know, it's like golden hour. You know, at least maybe I'm making that up, but it's like he's just overwhelmed by the beauty of this countryside that he's in, and he's riding along or walking along, and he looks over and he sees this tree, this big glorious tree, and he like falls over because he realizes that it's his tree. It's the tree that he was like trying to create his whole life. And somehow God has like completed this work that he failed at. I mean, in terms of his own, awareness, like that he never could quite get to. And his tree, it's not just a painting; it's an actual tree.
And there's his leaf.
And there's his leaf, yes, as part of it. And it's like unmistakable. It's like, this is my contribution. And I mean, we don't know exactly what the new heavens and new earth are going to look like and be like, but I love that idea that who we are, the talents we have, the visions, the dreams, the things that we long to create and maybe don't, that those might not just be like aberrations of our humanness. Like they may be like, there may actually be a place in God's story for the parts of us or the visions and projects and dreams that we, we're not able to accomplish because the world is broken and so are we,
Well, we'll put a link in our notes so you can go read Leaf by Niggle. It's a great short story.
It is.
Kendall, what a great lead in to your labor is not in vain. Would you share?
Yeah, sure. Your labor is not in vain, though the ground underneath you is cursed and stained. Your planting and reaping are never the same, but your labor is not in vain. Your labor is not unknown, though the rocks they cry out and the sea it may groan. The place of your toil may not seem like a home, but your labor is not unknown. For I am with you, I am with you, I am with you, I am with you. For I have called you, I've called you by name. Your labor is not in vain. The vineyards you plant will bear fruit. The fields will sing out and rejoice with the truth. For all that is old will at last be made new. The vineyards you plant will bear fruit. For I am with you, I am with you, I am with you, I am with you. For I have called you, I've called you by name. Your labor is not in vain. The houses you labor to build will finally with laughter and joy be filled. The serpent that hurts and destroys shall be killed, and all that is broken be healed. For I am with you, I am with you, I am with you, I am with you. For I have called you, I've called you by name. Your labor is not in vain.
that's just a desire I have too for folks who listen and watch this program, that God is with you. We get so caught up in the busyness and the humdrum of life, we just forget that. Mm-hmm. And Kendall, a song like this, Wendell, helps us. Have I called you Kendall through a whole program?
No, you did not. Once though.
Oh my goodness. Sorry. That's all right. You can call me Chase. Right. Everybody calls me Chase. But I want folks to know that God is really, I am with you. And then this last verse, I want folks to realize their labor will be redeemed one day in the New Jerusalem. So this last verse, the houses you labored to build will finally, with laughter and joy, be filled. That's just powerful. Mm-hmm. Yeah, all that is broken be healed. Mm-hmm. So when our parenting is not so great, or when you get overwhelmed with a pastoral counseling class. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, yeah. And then, the serpent that hurts and destroys shall be killed. Like God's justice, like God will make right what's wrong in the world. Yeah.
You need to do a song about nickel.
Yeah. Like specifically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. There's probably more to mine in that out of that ore, there's probably more gold in them hills, as they say. Yeah. That song is, that's probably the song I've heard the most about from people, just a lot of churches sing it. And I recently actually was on YouTube and found all these covers, all these other artists, or just churches. Like there's some band in, somewhere in Eastern Europe, I can't remember where, that did a cover of this. I think this is a message that I think is like core to the good news, but it doesn't make it into our, the like evangelism pamphlets, where it's like your sins can be forgiven so you can go to heaven kind of story. Like that story, is true, but it's like, it's true without context. It kind of misses the beginning and the end of the story. That creation was made for glory, and we were made for glory, and we were born with honor and dignity, to be priests. And the longing in our hearts is to be that again, to be creative, people with authority and dignity who make things that matter. And, if we're reading Isaiah and if I'm reading the story right, like that's what Jesus promises, there's a restoration coming, where we'll see the fruit of our labor.
Friends, if you'd like to learn more, encourage you to go to wendellk.com. That's Wendell with 2 L's, wendellk.com. You can also learn more about the Porter's Gate Worship Project at portersgateworship.com. I have one of their albums, and it is just fantastic. Wonderful worship. Now, also, since 2020, Wendell has shared new music monthly with a community of supporters on Patreon. So go on Patreon and sign up and get new bits of music every so often. He's got a single posting soon, and so want to pay attention and listen for that. And then this Advent and Christmas, he has a record coming out on vinyl. So that's kind of retro and cool. Well, with that, friends, we wrap up today's conversation. Thank you for inviting us into your day. If something you heard sparked a thought or stirred your heart, don't keep it to yourself. Share this episode with just one person who might need it. And if you'd be kind enough, leave a review wherever you listen. It helps us more than you know. As a thank you, I'd like to send you one of our 31-day faith and work prompt journals. Just head over to our website, wecolabor.com, to request your free coffee. Excuse me, your free copy. I guess we could send you a free coffee in the mail. I don't know. That'd be kind of interesting. At the website, you'll also find all sorts of resources and ways to connect with us across our social channels. If you'd like a regular rhythm of encouragement, well, listen for Nuance's Formed for Faithfulness, our weekly 10-minute devotional released every Monday, designed to carry you through the liturgical year with grace and perspective for your work. I'm Case Thorp, and God's blessings on you.